New York Red Bulls midfielder extraordinaire, Dax McCarty joins us now. Dax, how are you, my friend?
Hey, what's going on, brother?
Dax, I apologize for being late. I had Steve Goff on as the first guest, and you know what a blabbermouth that guy can be. Well, just won't stop talking.
Yeah. He likes to talk, but then again, so do I. So I can't really say much.
I wanted to just talk about all good stuff, but then you had the U.S. Open Cup result, and now we've got to talk about some not so good stuff. What happened in the match versus New England Revolution?
Yeah, no, it's just it's one of those games where certain things just kind of it feels like a day that's just kind of against you and not going your way. We never make excuses, as athletes. Every team is kind of dealing with different little things, but we certainly didn't do ourselves any favors by getting stuck in traffic and showing up 45 minutes before the game, walking about a quarter of a mile to make it to the stadium so we could warm up. So that was a little bit of a tough start for us. And then obviously we give up a goal 3 minutes into the game, which clearly showed that we really weren't ready to play. So from then on, it just kind of spiraled out of control. New England had all the momentum. It's one of those U.S. Open Cup games where, little mistakes, they seem to be magnified. And we made little mistakes all over the field. And it was certainly conducive to what they wanted to do. And I think we gave them pretty easy goals. So it was a really, really tough way to go out. But at the end of the day, we have to give New England credit. They took advantage of our mistakes, and we move on and focus on the league.
Who makes the decision that we're getting out and walking?
I think it was, I'm not sure who exactly made the decision, but I think it was kind of a collective effort, group effort saying, listen, the traffic was completely absurd. It was some of the worst I'd ever been in, and we really were just dead stop, not moving. And we had, I think we were, one of the guys, Andre Akpan, who was with us, actually played at Harvard. He was telling everyone we were pretty close, and it was just kind of a collective decision. Obviously, I think our head coach, Mike Petke, probably made the final decision, and we decided to get out and walk, and it ended up being the right decision because I heard later on that the bus that we were in didn't even show up to the stadium until 10 minutes after kickoff. So it was kind of a crazy hassle, but look, that's not an excuse. We just weren't ready to play.
I wonder what happens in that situation. Like, you'd think they'd hold the match up for you guys, wouldn't you?
Yeah, I don't know. I think that's a decision with New England, and New England being our friendly rivals up north, they certainly weren't going to do us any favors. We took it to them at home, and I think that was their first kind of big loss of the season. So they were trying to get back at us a little bit, and we as a unit, we just weren't ready to play. It's a lot of little things, but at the end of the day, New England took advantage of their opportunities. They were in front of a pretty good, noisy crowd. It was on a terrible field, which obviously they're used to with being at Gillette. But at the end of the day, we didn't play well enough to win, and they did.
How often does Andre bring up that he played soccer at Harvard?
He doesn't bring it up too much. I think we know all about it.
Are you the type of person that if you had played soccer at Harvard, you'd be bringing that up in any conversation that you could?
Yeah, I would probably bring it up in subtle conversation, see if people catch on. Oh, he went to Harvard and he was an athlete. It's a solid combination that Andre's got going for him. If only he was a little better looking.
So, are you now back in your Manhattan estate?
I am. Yep, we're back. We're back in New York, cozy in the inside because it's raining and the weather is terrible. But yep, we're just preparing for. We have another weekend of off from MLS play, and now we got to prepare for Philly. It's a huge game on the road next Sunday.
I want to ask you just a couple of things about U.S. Open Cup. And obviously, I know that you respect the Cup or the tournament, and it's got to be difficult. This is a little bit different, I would imagine, than losing a league game. Any loss hurts, but a league game, all right, we got next week. Whereas in this kind of knockout tournament style, we had a bad day, and now the whole run is over.
No, it's frustrating. That's why the Open Cup is unique, and that's why it's so hard to win the Open Cup because you know that if you have an off night, any team can beat you. And unfortunately, we had an off night. I think we, as a unit, like I said before, we just weren't ready to play. It's one of those things where I don't think, no disrespect to New England, I don't think they're a better team than we are. They have some talent, and their talented players certainly made us pay for being lackadaisical. So it's a tough one. It's frustrating. the bus ride home was a little bit more painful than we would have liked it to be because we lost. So we know that there's no chances to make up for it. Unfortunately, we're just going to have to wait for the league, and I think we're going to have to put a little bit extra effort now into doing better in the league and staying on top of the East and keeping up with the teams around us.
What are your thoughts on playing in these different, much more intimate venues during these Open Cup matches?
Yeah, I think it's great. I think it's great to switch it up and to play in venues that I think the fans can get a little bit closer and it's a little bit more intimate, like you said. At the end of the day, it's a double-edged sword because you never want to compromise playing in a really small, tight venue for the fans and compromising the field. No disrespect to Harvard or anyone at their institution, but the field. It was worse than Gillette, it was smaller and the turf was certainly not very good. So it's one of those things where it's like, how much do you compromise wanting to change up the venue, make it intimate, make it more like a cup game feel, but then also you lose a little bit of quality. I think a couple of my friends watched the game on the live feed and they said it kind of looked like a high school game, just with the way everything was set up with. It being a cup game on a tough field, small environment. So it's not an excuse for us. New England had to play on the same field. They were the better team on the night, but at the end of the day, it's a double-edged sword. You win some things and you lose some things when it comes to that.
I want to talk about your blog in a couple of minutes, but I want to bring up something that you mentioned in the blog and kind of tie it into what your last comment was about the field and the conditions. You mentioned Columbus Crew and Crew Stadium. What's your favorite MLS stadium outside of your own that you like to go to, as far as field conditions, as far as the city itself, as far as the visiting locker room? Which one do you go, oh, okay, sweet, we're going here this week. It's going to be cool.
Well, there's two of them. There's first and foremost is Toronto. I love going to Toronto. The city is one of my favorite cities that I get to visit. It's one of those cities where you just love the vibe of the city. It's got a very New York City feel. It's just in Canada. But yeah, it's a great city. That's one that I really look forward to. And then the other one, which is probably, a little bit different, is Real Salt Lake in terms of just their stadium is one of the best in the league. Their locker rooms are top class. Their field is always in great condition. It's definitely one of the best fields we play on in MLS. So, and then the atmosphere, the fans in Salt Lake, they seem to have a special thing going on over there with the special relationship they have with the players, and they seem to sell out more games than they don't. So I really enjoy playing in Salt Lake. It's always a tough, hard-fought game, and those are the two that I look forward to going to.
You're doing the Jeter thing, right? You're living in the city, correct?
Yeah, I do. I do live in the city.
So you're a great person to ask about New York City FC. Now, I don't want to get into the politics and to all that other stuff, and I know that you, when they get to the league, will consider them a huge rival, if not your biggest rival. But that day that the announcement was made, what was your initial reaction, and what was the reaction in the locker room to a team coming in and kind of treading on the turf that you guys own?
I think our initial reaction, at least mine, was great. This is great for the league. This is great for MLS. This is great for soccer in America in general. When you see the name, Manchester City, New York Yankees, you get a real sense that globally around the world, MLS is starting to be more recognizable, and or else teams like the Yankees and Manchester City wouldn't want to, invest in the project that is New York City FC. But at the same time, the first thing that came to my mind was I still hope I'm playing for the Red Bulls when they come into MLS, because I want to be the first team that kicks their ass, off the field, because they're a rival. I mean, we have a couple of them here in the Northeast, and I think with obviously the proximity to us and them kind of being located in New York and us kind of being in Jersey, I think there's going to be a little bit of that feel of, well, we're here first, but we're in Jersey, so it's kind of it's going to be a fun rivalry that I think we'll be able to get going pretty quickly. So it's a great thing for the league, and I think we're all just looking forward to getting on the field and playing against them.
I know you've been back and playing for a few weeks, but where are you health-wise, and does this little lull in your schedule come at a good time for you?
Yeah, it's been a little bit of a frustrating past, I'd say month and a half for me. I had my injury, and I got fit. I missed a couple games and I got fit, but then I wasn't really fit. My quad felt better, but I had a bunch of little niggling injuries that kind of just come along with having an injury in general. So my back was struggling pretty mightily for the past, I'd say, month. But this break comes at a good time. Starting to feel a little bit better. I've kind of been struggling through the past 3 or 4 games that I've been playing, but I think that when you hit a certain age and that when you get to a point of the season, you're never really going to play 100%. You're always going to have little things that bother you. And so for me, it's just a matter of trying to get back to as close as I was before my initial injury. And I think that I'm finally kind of starting to get back to that point. I'm probably at like 75-80% right now. So this break, this weekend off comes at another good time. And I know that in order for us to be successful, all the guys on our team have to be at their best level, and that includes me. So I need to get back to my form that I had before my injury, and we need to make a strong push in the second half of the season.
Dax, you say a certain age. You just turned 26 like a month ago. What is this certain age that you're talking about where you have to start managing your injuries?
Yeah, it's funny because you don't really, you don't associate that with being old. But I've been in the league for 8 years now, and I've been doing this for a long time, since I was 18, and it's one of those things where I think that I feel good, but I also feel like my body's starting to kind of feel that wear and tear, and starting to kind of feel like I need to do more in order to stay as fit as I can be. I feel like my best years are still ahead of me, obviously, but it's just one of those things that I need to know that if I'm not working hard enough off the field, my body's gonna feel it on the field. So I think I need to be a little bit better, a little bit more conscious of making sure I'm getting in the gym every day and getting treatment every day for little things to keep my muscles nice and loose. But like I said, when you've been doing it for a few years now at a high level, you're not getting any younger. So I'm looking forward to the next couple of years and trying to stay as healthy as I can.
I want to give you a chance to swoop in and talk about a guy on your team who's been kind of people grumbling about disappointment. And, you talk about age. This is Juninho is of a certain age. Has he been what you have thought he would be? And what is he bringing to the table that maybe the naysayers aren't seeing?
Yeah, no, Juninho's been great. He's a guy that you look at his technical ability and you look at where he's played and the level that he's played at for such a long time. And you can't argue with the fact that he's probably one of the best players on our team in terms of possession, in terms of keeping the ball moving for us. He's certainly not a traditional number 10, and I think that's kind of something people expected of him when he came in. He's not a guy that's going to buzz around the field and take guys on 1v1 off the dribble. I mean, when you get to a certain age, the legs just don't go as fast as they used to. So I think he's been everything that we've expected. It's certainly everything I've expected. His deliveries from set pieces have been very good. He's created a lot of dangerous opportunities for us there. And, his fitness level is very high for his age. So he's a guy that I think when it comes to MLS and being able to play in the middle of the field and battle and have to do the work that is required, I think that he's held up pretty well so far. But at the end of the day, he brings a lot of things, a lot of intangibles to the table that people don't see, and it's a lot more than just numbers. So I'm still hoping that we get a free kick, 20, 25 yards out, and he bends one in the top corner for us because he did it a lot in preseason. So now we're just hoping that translates to the game.
I'm looking for a tactful way to ask you the next question, and there really isn't. So I'm just going to ask you, and that is when he is in the lineup with you, you have to do more running, correct?
You can look at it like that. I think that when he's in the lineup with me, I just have to be a little bit smarter tactically, and that's something that I need to be better at. I think sometimes I get a little excited when I'm playing. Whenever I'm on the field, I'm always looking for opportunities where, maybe I can sneak forward and try to get in the box and get a chance on goal. That's just part of my nature. But I think with Juninho, I need to be a little bit smarter tactically because I think he's going to be a guy that floats a little bit more and tries to roam and find gaps where he can have a little bit more time on the ball. So if he gets caught out of position a little bit, I need to make sure that I'm in a spot where I can cover for him and I can kind of pick up the slack defensively, because I don't think Juninho's role so much is to be that guy that's going to be a midfield two-way enforcer, the guy that tries to win the ball back, more along the lines of Tim Cahill when Tim Cahill's in the lineup with me. I won't deny that. Yeah, maybe there's a little bit more of a burden on me to to play, more defensive and run a little bit more and win the ball back. But I think when I'm fully fit and healthy, I think that's something that I can do without a problem. Now it's just a matter of me getting back to 100%.
People who know you would say it was a slam dunk as far as your personality is concerned for you to have a blog. Now, I would argue that we had no idea whether your personality would translate to the written word or whether you would even want to be a writer. How did that all come about, and how are you enjoying being a blogger?
Yeah, no, it came about with, just an opportunity from goal.com. I think they reached out to my agent and, said they would love it if I gave it a shot. And at first I was hesitant. I always kind of, like to have fun and try to, find different ways to show my personality to the fans and whatnot. And I think I do a decent job of that on Twitter and Instagram. I enjoy that. I think when you do a blog, it kind of takes it up to a little bit of a different level. And at first I was skeptical, but after I wrote my first one, I kind of, I said that I was just going to have fun with it. And I wasn't going to take myself too seriously. I think fans and people in general, they like to see a little bit of a different side of you, and not just all serious, not just all business and talking about soccer. And I think that I've done a fairly decent job of that. I put the blog on hold a little bit because my injury came around and I was grumpy, and I figured that I would be just doing rehab and not doing too much off the field. And I don't think I should be writing about going bungee jumping and parasailing when I'm injured. So it was one of those things that I'll probably start it back up here in the next couple of weeks when we get back going in the season, and when we start making a push for a playoff spot and hopefully a supporter shield. So it's something that I just want to have fun with, and hopefully people enjoy it.
You started at a great time because you've been in great form for a long time now, going back to even 2 seasons ago. But I know personally, like an experience that, say, like Bobby Boswell had, where it's all fine and dandy when you're a blogger and you got your website and you're Mr. Funny Guy when things are going well, and then when he hit a bad run of form, everybody blamed now. Oh, it's the reason he's goofing off too much. He's got too much going on. He's got a blog. Is that something that is in your mind as you think about the blog moving forward?
Yeah, I mean, it's funny. You're always cautious of that. You always make sure that it's kind of, you have to walk a fine line between, not taking yourself too serious, but also showing people that you care. Because it's one of those things where, if people think that you just don't care, then, I think they'll take it personally. And for me, whenever we lose a game, I try not to go too goofy on, a blog or social media or whatnot, because I know it hurts people. We have fans that have been with us for 16, 17 years. And when we lose, it kind of ruins their night, ruins their weekend, whatever it may be. So they need to know that it hurts us too. I mean, obviously losing the Open Cup game, you didn't see me on social media afterwards. I wasn't tweeting anything or doing anything like that because it was something that it kind of pissed me off. And that's something that, I think the fans respect when you have fun and when you mess around, but they also respect the fact that when you lose, you shouldn't be happy. You should be upset about it. So it's one of those things that, some fans, you're never going to win everyone over. There's always going to be someone that says, Lionel Messi couldn't play on the New York Red Bulls. He's not good. And you're just going to have to laugh it off because, at the end of the day, what matters is what your teammates and coaches think. And if you have the respect of them, then you're doing something right. So you can't please everyone. That's the one thing I've learned, and the one thing that I think I'll probably take with me as I get older, because there are going to be some people that love you and praise you and think you're the greatest player in MLS, and there are going to be other people that think that you probably couldn't make their rec league team. So you can never get too high and never get too low. That's the one thing that I always try to remember.
I know you're going to sigh, as most people would, or guys who are kind of in the national team picture but aren't in the national team picture. Have you had any contact with anyone from the U.S. Soccer Federation about future prospects for you?
I haven't. No, I haven't had any contact with anyone from U.S. Soccer. And, like I've said a few times before when I've been asked this, it's a situation that's a challenge. And it's something that, I look forward to trying to break through a tough situation. The U.S. has a very good midfield, very deep, a lot of talented players. So it's not going to be easy. I think it takes, a lot to catch Jurgen's attention, and hopefully in the next couple of months I'll be able to do that. But the only way I can do that is playing well with the Red Bulls. So my main focus and sole focus is just making sure that my club team is doing well and we're near the top of the table. And I'm playing 90 minutes every week. That's something that I pride myself in is playing 90 minutes week in and week out and not being injured. And I think, I certainly didn't do myself any favors for the Gold Cup by getting the injury when I did. I think it was a little bit of unfortunate timing, but it's water under the bridge. I always wish the U.S. team all the best, and if I ever get a chance to go into camp, I'll give it a good go, and hopefully I can make an impression on the coaches, and they see that I have something to bring to the team.
Do you and Pontius commiserate over the bad luck of the bad timing of the injuries just ahead of Gold Cup?
I tell you what, I've been pretty lucky in terms of my my health and my injuries. Pontius, I don't know if he's got some serious bad karma coming his way, because it seems like the bad karma only comes when it's national team time.
Yeah.
And, the injuries he gets, you just can't understand, because he was certainly one of the best players in the league last year, and you would have expected him to get a call into January camp. And when he got injured, that was just another thing that you kind of add to the list of disappointments for him. But he's a very good player. We all know that. I think that's obvious. He's a good friend of mine, and I like to give him a lot of crap. But at the end of the day, you have to respect what he's done on the field, and what he's done on the field has been pretty impressive the past couple of years. So when he's healthy and when he's fit and motivated, I think there's not really many better attackers in the league, and I think it's only a matter of time before he gets a chance with the national team and shows everyone what he can do.
I got frustrated for you, Dax, because as I was putting this whole thing together and thinking to myself, oh, you know what? Dax isn't even one of those guys that has gotten a chance and then fallen on his face. Every time you've turned out for the national team, you've played well, and I can think of the January camp in particular where there were matches where you were the best guy on the field. So I can't imagine being in your shoes and thinking to yourself, what the heck do I have to do to step myself out from everybody else here?
Yeah, that was, it's funny. That was one of the most proud moments I've ever had in my career, was when I got to wear the captain's band for the national team against Chile back in January camp. I think it was 2 years ago or 3 years ago. I can't quite remember, but that was a moment that, I took and I tried to say, okay, this is just another step in your career, and now you just have to try to get better and improve and continue to be in the national team. And so it's funny when, you have one coach in Bob Bradley who I think was, a fan of mine, and who was, certainly a guy that, I could have gotten plenty of call-ups under. When he gets fired and they bring in a new coach, that new coach has, his preferences and his way of thinking and his way of playing. And, I think it's just a little bit of bad luck that I haven't gotten a chance yet. So, yeah, it's definitely something I look at and think maybe, if things were different, maybe I'd have a few more caps to my name. But you can't look at that. You just have to try to keep being positive and stay focused and, try to improve with each game, because I think when you're a little bit older, you're expected to be more consistent. When you're younger, and you have a good game and a bad game, people say, oh, he's young. But when you're in your mid-20s and you're kind of entering into your prime, people expect you to have a high level every time you step on the field, and that's something that I think I've improved on tremendously. So, yeah, it's been fun when I have played for the national team. I think I've done a decent enough job to stay in there, but it's very competitive. That's all I can say. It's very competitive, and I hope that one of these days I'll get a chance under Jurgen. I'm
going to ask you a question, but I have an ulterior motive for asking it. The question is, before you answer, I want to tell you why I'm asking. The question is, where is that Chilean-friendly jersey at? And the reason I ask is because Nick Rimando gave me one of his national team jerseys one time, and I looked back afterwards, and at the time he only had one cap, and I was like, did he just give me the only cap jersey that he owns? And I was kind of flabbergasted. So where is your jersey from the match against Chile right now?
The jersey is actually at home with my parents, and it's funny you should ask. I remembered thinking as soon as that game finished, I'll keep the armband and I'll keep the jersey too, and make sure my parents have it in safekeeping and frame it. But maybe I need to get them to ship it to me or ship it directly to you. Maybe that'll give me some good luck.
Well, what I'm thinking now is that Rimando just ran off like 70 jerseys with his name on the back, and now he just hands them out, and people go, "Wow, this is a huge gift. Thank you, Nick."
Exactly. Well, I need to do the same. I need to ask him. If he's got a jersey guy.
Dax, thank you, man. Appreciate it. And get healthy and continued success throughout the rest of the season.
I will, man. Thanks a lot.
Take it easy.
Good speaking to you again, Rod.
Pitch Pass.
This is your voice. This is my red, white, and blue. This is my anthem to you.
For more show information, go to pitchpass.com.